Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
The Trinity, Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar, Sri Tyagarajar and Sri Shyama Sastri, I would say were masters in creating different emotions and feelings with the same raga. Today we talk about music therapy and as if a particular raga can evoke a particular emotion and all that. But going back in time to the compositions of the Trinity, we understand that actually there is no particular emotion which you can assign to a particular ragam. Personally, I also feel that it all depends on how you render the ragam. So the same ragam can, with the playing of notes, make you feel happy. When rendered in a very slow pace, can make you feel kind of sad. And there are so many other things involved in this. So that is not the point here. But my point is about how the Trinity, they were able to create different kind of atmosphere with the one and the same raga. For example, if you take the ragam Varali, which comes to my mind now. Now in Varali, what Varali was used for by Dikshidhar and Shyama Sastri was to create a kriti on goddess or the Ambal, whereas the Tyagarajar has used it in a different context of with a feeling of agony and despair. He sings one particular composition. Again, the same Tyagarajar has used the same Varali in a different context also. So this is what makes for interesting study here. So where we can't say that this ragam is, today we say that cures blood pressure, or this ragam creates less sugar in the body, or it relieves hypertension. These are all mere theories according to me. But let us look at the composition and the ragam in the context of the composition today from the perspective of the Trinity. First, let me look at Varali by the three composers. Tyagarajar, for example, has composed the song Eti Janmamidiya. We'll come to that later. We see a similarity in the composing of by Dikshidhar and Shyama Sastri. Dikshidhar has composed the composition on goddess Meenakshi and Shyama Sastri on Bangaru Kamakshi. So here, and these also have got very similar movements because of the fact that both are in Misra Chaputala. Dikshidhar's composition. Ma baba Meenakshi Rajama Tangi Manikyavalake Pani Maduravani Varali Veni Mabava Meenakshi. And the song continues. Just wanted to show you how it starts and what is the theme here. Similarly, if you look at Shyama Sastri, Kamakshi Amba Kamakshi Bangaru Kamakshi Nanu Bravave Kamakshi Nanu Bravave Kamakshi. So both have now addressed Ambal here. Now, Tyagarajar, who worships Rama so much, in this particular song, he is totally agonized and says, Eti Janma Midiha, O Rama. What is this Janma? He is totally kind of in a state of anguish where he uses it like, Eti Janma Midiha. O Rama, Yeti Janma Midiha. O Rama Yeti Janma. So in all the three, very interestingly, you see that the commonality is the Raga Varali. And incidentally, all the three of them are in Mishra Japutala. Whereas the first one is a total different mood. The mood is depicted here by the Sahitya. So the Sahitya also guides, I would say very importantly, the feel that the particular composition has to impart to us. So here, and in the Anupallavi, he goes further up and says, Eti Janmamidi Endu Galigeno, and then after that the Charanas come. So now, interestingly, now if you want to say that Tyagaraja attributes Varali with a sense of anguish and agony, he himself has composed another contrasting composition in the same ragam. Kana kana ruchi hira kana kava sana nirnu kana kana ruchira kanakava sana nirnu kana ruchi hira, where the composition describes the beauty of Lord Rama, his multifaceted beauty, and he says that how much ever I see, I am not satisfied. The beauty is so much, so magnified that how much ever I see it, I keep on seeing it. I only wish to keep on seeing it again and again, and I am not satisfied at all. So now the same Varali has been used as two contrasting themes here, one in a sense of agony, one in the sense of amazement, and also a kind of inner heart, which is trying to describe the beauty as experienced by Lord Rama. So that way we could say that this is one aspect. Or for example, the gait of the ragam itself, again, two composers using it in two different ways. So again, that gives a different dimension to the ragam also. For example, if you take the ragam Brindavani, also Brindavani Saranga, whichever you may call it. Now, the Dikshadhar has composed the monumental grand composition Rangapura Vihara, which occupies such a vast kind of space is occupied by that composition, and the grandeur lies in its starting in the Tarasthai Re, like Ranga Puravi Hara Shiralga Puravi Hara. So it comes in a very, very relaxed gait, exploring every nuance of that particular raga. The notes are explored in complete detail because of the Kala Pramana. The same ragam, when Tyagaraja conceptualizes a composition, see, in his way of looking at that ragam, Kamalapta Kola Kalashabdhi Chandra Kamalapta Kola Kalashabdhi Chandra Kamalapta Kola Kalashabdhi Chandra Kavavayadalno Karuna Samudra Kamalapta Kola Kalashadhi Chandra. So here also you see that it's not only about the notes are the same, but Ranga Puravi, the kind of Jaru, the Gamakas also become very distinct in the case of Dikshadhar, and it is more of the Kampita Gamakam, I would say, in the case of Tyagaraja. Another example we could take is a pathos song of Tyagaraja, and a very grand and robust song of Sri Dikshadhar in the same ragam Shubha Panturali. In the Dikshadhar school, of course, it's known as also Shiva Panturali. Tyagaraja has composed a very ordinary this song like Yennalu Rege Yennalu Rege Yundu ಮೋಯವರು ಅಡಿಗೆ ಪಾರುಲೆ ದ ಶ್ರೀರಾಮ ಎನ್ನಾಳು ರಗ. In contrast, in the song Sri Satyanarayanam, how he starts on the Tarastai and kind of, describes that Lord so beautifully, like Sri Sagatya Narayanam Upasmage Nityam Satya Jnananandamayam Sarvam Vishnu Mayam Shri. Where he says, Shri Satyanarayanam Upasmahe Satya Jnananandamayam Sarvam Vishnu Mayam. Then he goes to describe the Lord. So, the same ragam, Shubha Pantrali, gives a completely different mood in the context of Sri Tyagaraja's composition, whereas here you see that it has got a different connotation. But also here you see that how the composition makes use of distinct gamakas. That's also very a beautiful concept. How you see that Yennadu this kind of a gamakam is seen prevalent in this particular composition. Whereas in the case of the Dikshidhar composition, Sri Satyanarayanam, this kind of a jaru is more predominant in this particular composition. Here also we have to understand the background as to why this has happened. We know that Dikshidhar, for some time, his guru took him to Varanasi, where he learnt Hindustani music. He stayed there for about 5 years, learned the nuances of Hindustani music, got to hear a lot of Hindustani music also. So obviously this had an important impact on his compositions also. And again here we must understand his thorough understanding of the music system, where in a ragam like Shankarabharanam or Todi, he never ventured into using this kind of jaru gamakas, but ragas which are nearby to the Hindustani ragams only, like for example, if you take the Yamuna Kalyani, or if you take the Brindavani Saranga that he composed, or the Shiva Panturali, which has got a counterpart in Hindustani. So very judiciously, wherever appropriate to use this kind of gamakas to give that flavor of the Hindustani touch only, he has used these gamakas also. Now coming to the next point of about, he not only explored the ragam, not only explored the notes, but also the tones within the notes. This is something very, very significant, and that's why the Trinity, I would say, stand tall as one of the greatest composers. It is not just about creating just some ragam through the permutation combination of some notes, and then you mix and match these notes in different ways to create a composition. It doesn't work that way, because a great composition has to offer much more than this in terms of the tones which go to make it also. Now, what do we mean by tones? Let us look at a few examples. Now, if you take the composition, a very popular composition of Tyagarajar, Yenduku Bettala. Here, it is not only about Shankarabharanam or the usage of Sari Gama Pada Nisa. It's not just a permutation combination, but a deeper understanding of what the Raga Shankarabharanam actually means. Like in the opening phrase itself, you see how he has capsuled the very essence of the ragam in this particular phrase itself, like where you, in fact, in that particular song, the Purvanga only he keeps on singing again and again in terms of Sangati, and the Uttaranga comes later only. But in spite of the fact that only the Purvanga is being sung repeatedly, you are able to feel the presence of Shankarabharanam at every point, every note, every tone that he has created. Let us look at the composition. Yenduku Pedala. So Sari Ga Ma Ga Ri Ga Ga Ri Sa. This is only the range he has taken here. He's not gone into Uttaranga at all. But there isn't an iota of doubt about the fact that this is Shankarabharanam, because these are all some patent phrases which are part of Shankarabharanam that used in the composition. Yeldu ku pedala. Next. Yendu ku pedala. Next. Yendu ku pedala. So these are all phrases which belong to only and only Shankarabharanam. So how he has captured those tones is what is important. So that is more than a note in terms of exploring the tone. Yendu kugamaga vedala valebo udhi yavu. Or let's take another example of Ananda Natana Prakasham of Dikshadhar, where in the first phrase itself you see how beautifully the Kedaram is captured. Ananda Natana Prakasham Chitsabhesham Ananda Natana Prakasham Chitsabhesham. Or another example of Dikshadhar himself in Yamuna Kalyani, where in the first phrase you see how he uses the beyond the notes, the tones to bring out the color of the ragam, like Jambu Upate Ma Pa Hi Nijana Amrita Bodham De Jambu Upate Ma Pahi. So in all these three ragas that I mentioned, you'd see, or for example, another which comes to my mind, Shama Sastri, Mayamma in Ahiri. Mayangu Manine Pilachite. So in these ragams like Ahiri, the Kedaram, Shankarabharanam, the Yamuna Kalyani that I mentioned here, and many such ragas, we see that these ragas do not work on the concept of just the Arohana Varna or the notes. Here the tone, that is the space between the notes, is what is used to create that distinct flavor of the ragam. And that I think the Trinity have been absolute masters in capturing this concept of the ragam. Now coming to another aspect which is very, very important and found a boom, I would say, in terms of being explored are the Vivadi ragas, which were seldom used before the time of the Trinity. Also because of the taboo that Vivadi notes brought about ill luck and evil, and so they were not even sung actually. Vivadi ragas were very sparingly sung, for example, which has come down through ages like Nate or Varali, for example, which has come down to us. But the concept of using Vivadi notes, Vivaditva itself was supposed to be a dosha. So people would not attempt to sing these ragas. And so there are also not many compositions in the Vivadi ragas. But I would say that the Trinity, especially Dikshadhar and Tyagarajar broke this taboo and created so many beautiful compositions in the Vivadi Ragas, and also conveyed at large that Vivadi Ragas have their own aesthetic beauty. Let us look at one raga created by our Tyagarajar, Gangeya Bhushani, where the ragam Arona Arona goes like Sari Ga Ma Pada Ni Sa Sa Ni Da Pa Ma Ga Ri Sa. So, as a scale, now you may not be able to see much into it in terms of the rasa, but when it is put into a composition by Tyagaraja, it attains such a beautiful form, the composition going like Yovare Ramaya Ne Sari Yovare Ramaya Ne Sari. See also how the raga unfolds in a step by step way. That is another beauty of Tyagaraja compositions. Yovare Ramaya Ni Sari Yovare Ramaya Ni Sari Yovare Ramaya Ni Sari Yovare Ramaya. So this ragam has been given life, I would say, through the composition of Sri Tyagarajar, or another ragam Nasika Bhushani. If you look at the composition, Maravairi Rabani Manju Bhashini Maravairi Rabani Manju Bhashini Maravairi Rabani. Of course, there are many more sangatis here, but I want to emphasize here is how the ragam, the scale, has got a new and beautiful dimension through his composition. Similarly, let us look at a ragam called Kalavati, which has been explored by Sri Dikshadhar. Kalavati Kamalasana Yuvati Kalavati Kamalasana Yuvati Kalyano Kalayato Saraswati Kalavati Kamalasana Yuvati. Of course, the Vivadi Ragas I mentioned here are melas, both in the case of Gange Bhushani and Nasika Bhushani I mentioned in Tyagarajar, or Kalavati, which is equal to the Yaga Priya of the Tyagaraja school. Even in the Janya Vivadis, we see how beautifully they have captured the ragams. Like, for example, I showed you in the ragam Shashivadana Bhakta Janavana Shankara Ne Tadagalana Shashivadana Bhakta Janavana in the ragam Chandra Jyoti. Or if you take a Vivadi ragam, a Janya created by Dikshadhar, a very rare ragam known as Samanta. Pranatarti Haraya Namaste. Pranatarti Haraya Namaste. Varadharmasam Vardhani Sagidaya Pranatarti Haraya Namaste. This is a Janya of Nagabharanam and known as Naganandini in the Tyagarajar school. So that way we see that the Vivadi Ragams, which were earlier not given any importance, became very, very important and focused in the compositions of the Trinity, especially naming Tyagarajar and Dikshidhar. Of course, how they use the Vivadi notes distinctly according to their own thought process is a different matter of study, which we'll probably do later. Finally, I would like to make a mention about how their compositions are a true example of beauty in simplicity. While they created many complex compositions for us, they also created very, very simple compositions, kind of capturing the essence of the raga definitely, but in a very simple way. For example, if you take our compositions of Tyagarajar, like in Sahana, Shri Rama, Shri Rama, Shri Manoharama, Shri Rama, Shri Rama, Shri Manoharama, Yela Nidaya, Intai Radaya, Shri Rama, Shri Rama, Shri Manoharama. Or a Bhairavi. See how beautifully within the two lines, so simply is captured the essence of Bhairavi. Rama Kodanda Rama, Rama Kalyana Rama, Rama Kodanda Rama, Rama Kalyana Rama, Rama Kodanda Rama, Rama Kalyana Rama. Of course, Dikshidhar did not compose very simple compositions in ragas like Bhairavi or Sahana, but nevertheless he displayed his capability by using the Shankarabharanam as a major scale. He has composed grand compositions like Akshayalinga Vibho in this ragam, but similarly we see that he has used it as a western major scale and given us beautiful compositions, and these are very, very easy for children to learn also because they use the plain scale of Shankarabharanam like Rama Janardana Ravana Mardana Ramanujagraja Raja Vibho Pamara Mochana Pankaja Lochana Bhakta Jana Priya Palaya Mam, or Shamale Meenakshi Sundareswara Sakshi Shankari Guru Guga Samudbhave Shiveva. Like this we see that the Trinity, in terms of the usage of the ragas, they have created a definite impact, I would say, because each one of them, as we saw here in this particular session, the same raga, how they used in different ways, in different kala pramanas to give us different kind of feel. And then we also see how certain ragas which were never explored before get to become prominent in the hands of the Trinity. And also the final, of course, point which I mentioned is about beauty and simplicity. They were masters or Vagyakaras of the highest order, and they could really compose the grandest composition, but they also show to us how beauty also lies in simplicity, in the simplest compositions. And the songs which I sang to you now are absolute examples, I would say, to kind of establish this particular concept.